Salvete omnes, ego sum Magister Sullivan. Welcome back. We're at Aeneid, or Book 1 of the Aeneid, from the AP Syllabus, lines 102 to 123. This title is Full Fury of the Winds. If you can remember from last time, well, to give a quick recap, Aeneas and his Trojan refugees are fleeing Troy after there had been a war there for, stories say, 10 years. The Trojans are leaving their city in search of New Troy. Aeneas is their captain and leader. And Juno, the queen of the gods, is not thrilled with Aeneas or the Trojans, based on Paris's decision to give the golden apple to Venus and declare her the most beautiful goddess of the world. So now Juno is bent on punishing all the Trojans. And so she has come to Aeolus, who's the king of the winds, and she's asked him to let loose his winds, his destructive winds, upon Aeneas and his crew, as kind of a payback. So here we are with that. As you can remember from the last time, the winds line up in kind of a battle formation, and Aeneas gives this speech where he says he had wished he had died at the gates of Troy rather than dying at sea, for this in this particular way. All right, so just to recap for cases, we have the nominative. Nominatives are subjects. Everything you see here that is orange is a nominative subject or adjective. We have accusatives. Accusatives are in green, and they are the objects of verbs and the objects of prepositions. Ablatives are purple. They're mostly the objects of prepositions. They can be used verbally too. Genitives are mostly possessive, and they're in red. Datives, there are a few more datives in this chunk than there are in others, and they're usually your indirect object or reference. Vocatives, and they're in blue. Vocatives are in this brownish reddish color, and they are your direct address case. So when you're in dialogue or that sort of thing, and it's set up by commas, usually that's going to be a vocative. Okay, so here we go. Remember, Aeneas was just speaking, so to or for the one speaking such things, literally tossing such things. The howling storm from the wind, aquilo is a specific wind, strikes the sail, literally the cloth, so describing the sail, head on, and raises waves to the stars. Alright, so this is an example of hyperbole. Do the waves go all the way up to the stars? No, but it makes it more dramatic that way, right? Okay. Notice the language is very short and choppy. All right. We have a kind of like our important action climax, if you would. All right, main action. Yeah. And so the oars are snapped or are broken. This is an example of a passive verb. Notice all the verbs too are present. Ferit, tolit, franguntur, avertit. These are all present verbs. Dot, right? And so then the prow of the ship turns away and gives its side to the waves. Right? This, if we're ancient mariners, we know that the ship is in dire straits here, because usually you want to turn the prow of the ship into the wave, so you can kind of break through the wave itself. Whereas if the wave is to the side of the ship, it's going to crash down on its hull and destroy it. And so here's another example of hyperbole. A rushing mountain of water follows or looms or threatens in a heap. Okay, so here we have some, or these ones, meaning these men. Some hang on the tops of the wave, or the crest of the wave, For those, or for the others, a gaping wave uh, lies open or reveals the earth among the waves, and the tide rages, froth seethes with or in the sand, from the sand. So some type of ablative here. Remember, notice is a wind, and if you access the link to this there's a hyperlink that will take you to the page where it describes notice. Notice drives or twists 3 ships. There's no naves here, but there should be 3 ships having been snatched up into or upon or against the rocks lying hidden. Right, so latentia is an example of, it comes from the verb lator, which is, or lateo, which is the verb to hide. Alright, so this is an example of a participle. The Italians call the rocks the altars. So as you note here, so we have saxa and aras, and they're going together. This is an apposition. Apposition is a grammatical construct where a noun modifies another noun. And then we have a relative, which is, there's no is, which is in the middle of the waves. Right? And this is a huge spine or a huge ridge just on top of the sea. So just on the top of the surface of the sea. Eurus, who's, again, like notice, another wind. All right, Eurus is the subject. All right, notice the us. Eurus. And notice the position. We have tres notus abritas. And then we have tres eurus ab alto. Right, so there's similar construction there. Right, so we have Eurus, presses, drives, urges, 3 ships from the deep, against or upon. So in plus the accusative, these are accusatives, are can you use against the shadows, or shallows, I'm sorry, against the shallows in the reefs. And this is miserable, pitiable to see. This could be an example of a some type of national art exam question. This is called a supine, and as you heard it, to see, you would expect we dere, the infinitive, but here it's to see. All right, it's kind of like a noun type of thing. And crashes and or clashes in the shallows and surrounds them, meaning the boats, with a mound, or yeah, mound is best, of sand. Then we move on down here. So now we have lines 113 to 115. So we have Ingens Pontus, a huge body of water from the peak strikes. Notice again the verbs, violent verbs. We have present tense verbs, right? Strikes against or into one ship, which was carrying. Notice now we shift a bit. It's was carrying, because it's no longer carrying him, right? Was carrying, an imperfect verb, was carrying the Lycians, and faithful Orontes, a Trojan, before his eyes. So before his eyes. Ipsios is for Aeneas's eyes. And the helmsman, headlong, is shook off, and tumbles onto his head. But driving around, again, this is here a participle, driving around, most likely, or yeah. And driving around in the same spot, in the same location, 3 times, the wave twists that ship. And the rapid vertex devours, swallows up that ship in with the water, in the water. Then we have weary should be here, Viri, men. The men scattered in swimming, or scattered while swimming. We have a participle while swimming. Appear in the vast whirlpool. Right, then we have more subjects. All these subjects, Arma, Tabula, and Gaza, with apparent. So we're going to repeat that verb later. So the weapons of the men and the planks and the Trojan treasures, bounty, booty, appear through the waves. Then we have yam, and we have qua. So we have anaphora. So we have now, we're going to go all the way down here to hiems to find our subject. Now hiems is most normally used as winter. Here we're going to say winter squall, winter storm, conquered. Again, past tense now, because it shows the shift from present to past, right? It utterly destroyed them, right? It happened, they're gone. So destroyed, conquered, the strong ship, the sturdy ship of Ilioneus. Now, the winter storm, the winter squall conquered the sturdy ship of brave Achates. Achates is the Trojan equivalent of Patroclus to Achilles. So Aeneas and Achates are best friends. And again, understood that which carried Abas, and on that which carried Erectus, understood aged Aletus. Right, and then we have laxis, laterum compagibus. Laxis and compagibus these are called ablative absolutes. We're going to see a lot of these. So we have a noun plus a participle, and they're in the ablative, it equals ablative absolute. So we translate this as with, because the purple ones we can usually translate as with or in or by. With the joints having been loosened, with the joints of the side having been loosened, all the ships let in, or literally welcome, receive, the unfriendly or the hostile rainstorms or rains, and they gape, they yawn with fissures, with cracks. Again, the ablative with, right, with joints, with cracks, on which, by which, right, that sort of thing. Alright, so that's it. That's lines 102 through 123 of the AP syllabus from Aeneid, Book 1, right, where the winds let loose upon Aeneas and his crew. But all's not lost. Aeneas will hopefully be bailed out soon, because we know he must. A very important sea god is about to make his way onto the stage and show his command of the situation. So we'll pick this up next time. Walete.